Welcome back to Sunrise Daily in Abuja, where we're standing by with Jasper Azuatualam, an executive director with the NSITF and a member of the APC BOT, and Oladimeji Fabiyi, a member of the PDP. Just before we went on break, you were speaking. Please continue.
Yes. What I was saying is that how do you? It's quite painful because Nigerians' hopes were raised by this government when they were coming on board. They promised them employment, ample employment. I was at one of the campaigns and one of the leaders was just talking jobs. What do we have today? Today, they promised us the first year of the administration 3 million jobs. Even they've not been able to provide 1 million jobs. Now, we even lost more jobs now than before. So a government that comes to come over and promise, don't worry, we are bringing restructuring through federalism. What have they done? Nothing. A government, what do you say about the government who told us that, no, education is a priority? What do we see? Just a few days ago, I was watching on the TV at Adekunle Ajayi University, where the school fees was from 35,000 first to 120,000, then to 150,000, then to 170,000. Then a very vibrant, very intelligent student came up, but I said, see, I don't know how we're going to survive this. I'm from a family of 5, 3 of us were in the university, and in the university right now, my father is a policeman, all right, and he earns 117,000, 70,000. How does he, and he has to pay 1/8 for 3 students. And how do you want to fight corruption? How do you want to do that? These are some of the ills of this government.
Go ahead.
So, no, see, the day something happened, because it says something about Mr. President's declaration. I quickly want to put in this. The day that declaration news came on board, 2 things happened. Number 1, our stock market crashed. Then number 2, those international magazines, those reputable international magazines, the Bloomberg, the New York Times, the London Economist, these were the guys that promoted the candidature of President Muhammadu Buhari in 2015. These guys came out, and if you see what these guys were saying now.
How would you respond to administration officials that would say that if you look at the numbers from the organized private sector and the public sector, that it's a bit deceptive, that over 5 million people have been employed in the agricultural revolution in the north, and that several hundreds of thousands have been employed in construction jobs around the country? What are your thoughts about that?
Where are all these statistics? Where are the jobs? Where are the 5 million jobs? I'm yet to see them. All right, all these things have ripple effects. If truly we have 5 million jobs, or we credit all the things we are saying, all the statistics we are reading out are true, then how come are we still having this violence all over the place? All this has a way of taking over so many things. When you have jobs, when there are jobs, people will not resort to violence. There's a lot of things that is wrong with this leadership, we must say.
Jasper, what do you think?
I think I had to address this from where he is starting from. I think every Nigerian, as much as we are all Nigerian, has the right to demand that the present government should move this country forward. We are all looking forward to moving from a developing country to a developed country. But what I don't understand is when somebody in the PDP comes to tell me that Nigerians are running out of patience, and I ask, what kind of patience? The PDP was in government for 16 years. And in 16 years, they got to the point where the revenue coming to this country got to the peak. And oil was sold about $120 per barrel. And the PDP government has nothing to show for the amount of money that has come to the coffers of this nation. And it got to a point where at the end of the month, they will go for FAC meeting, commissioners of finance of states will go, and they will be told that in several occasions that there is no money to be shared, and state has gone back and could not pay salaries, and civil servants at the federal level were even paid salaries, were even owed salaries.
No, but you know,
but I'm coming.
Yeah.
But at this point, the APC government came to a point where our major source of revenue, which is the oil, came down to a point where we were even selling a barrel of crude oil as $28 per barrel. And this government came into place. And then what are we using to measure? Let me quickly state some of the things. I am from the southeast. Let me give typical examples so that people will understand and look at the statistics. For the 16 years of PDP government, the only project, and I will give it to them when they did it, the only project I saw was the project that took place from the Onitsha-Owerri Road. What was the Onitsha-Owerri Road? Sorry, is the Onitsha-Owerri road, which started from Obasanjo through Yar'Adua and then to Jonathan. That road, I think it's about 90 to 100 kilometers. But I can tell you, from the time this government has come, this is just 2 years and about 10 months, I can point the number of roads that have been constructed in the southeast. First, look at this road from Owerri to Port Harcourt, to the River State end of that road. The PDP had said they were going to construct that road. For 16 years, nothing was done on that road. But I can tell you, when Buhari came to government, under about 14 months of this government, when it came to power, that road, one lane of it was completed from the Owerri end to the River State end. And I can tell you, let me just run through. If you look at the Onitsha,
unfortunately, we don't have enough time to go project by project. So
that is what we are talking about. We want to look at the statistics of what the government has done, even with the limited resources.
Let's look at this. If right now the president is saying that indeed, obviously, he's going to come back. He's going to try and come back. You're a member of the strategy team. I mean, you're a member of on the APC board of trustees, and when you look at it and you say that the president is not looking at some of the political factors, that indeed what he's looking at is to end the speculation, he's focused on administration. Some people would say, look, the APC just announced that the National Convention is holding on May 15th. They have to replace the NWC by a particular time, that this was a calculated political decision. Is that not true?
That is not true. You know that INEC has released timetable, and the presidential election is going to take place February next year. We are in April now. And from the timetable, the primaries to the elections will be by August, September. And this is April. We have about 3-4 months to this time when election processes will start. So if you are saying you are going to run for election 3 months or 4 months before the primary elections in the party that will produce you, I don't think that is being too early. And then I want to say that Nigerians will decide. It is not about what you say because you have a political interest. When we get to that point, Nigerians will compare. For the 16 years of PDP, what has changed in my environment? I want to remind you quickly that for 16 years of PDP and beyond that point, Nigeria was importing up to 90% of rice. And of course, you know that the first thing every human being needs is food. A country that doesn't have food sufficiency cannot survive. And we are importing the food we are eating. We are paying people outside. He was talking about employment. How do you intend to create employment when you can't produce the food you eat? So we are paying people to produce food for us. But at this time, look at the statistics. He knows that as it stands, so Nigeria is producing over 90% of the rice is consumed, and the price of rice has come to crash as
an integral part of the president's strategic think tank ahead of the election. Do you think that it is wise at this point, as far as electoral strategy, to really harp on what the PDP had done or not done, as opposed to what you have done? Because Nigerians, I'm sure you hear the complaints out there that we elected you to solve problems, not to talk about past problems. What are your thoughts about that, and is there any willingness on the part of the administration to change that tone?
I totally agree to that school of thought, that it is not about who has failed before, but we just at some point want to go back to that.
But that's most of what you've said this morning.
The reason we have to do that is because people who has failed are coming to compare the party that is trying to move Nigeria forward with their failure. And I always tell them, please remove yourself out of this. Let's talk to Nigerians. First of all, what do we need to do? This is 2 years and about 10 months of this administration. For any country to develop, we must have to tackle the issue of infrastructure. I understand the challenges that we have as Nigeria. All of us do have such challenges. That things are not the way we want it to be at the moment. We agree to that. But look at the developed countries. Did they just take 4 years to develop? You've traveled to Europe, the US. What you see, the infrastructures you see, did they just build it in 4 years? What somebody should come to ask me is that, has this administration started? And I can tell you, it is obvious. We have started in the area of rail, in the area of food sufficiency, in the area of construction of roads. What this government has done in 2 years and 10 months, the PDP government did not do 10% of it in 16 years. But it is not Uhuru at the moment. We are saying This government has started. Buhari has started to do this. In the long run, if this government continues in this consistency, in the next 10 to 15 to 16 years, people will look around them and see the dividends of democracy.
Mr. Fabiyi, I'm going to bring you in here because I know you have some things to say about what he has said. But